What's up, guys? Well, I thought I was done for the day, but I want to talk about one more thing. I was unpacking the car and I got to my PFD. I'm not going to lecture you about whether or not you wear a PFD. You should wear one, but I'm not here to lecture you. I want to talk specifically about the Auto Inflate PFDs. This one's made by Sea Choice. The main reason I want to talk about them is when I was at the boat ramp today, a guy saw me wearing it and he said, I need to get one of those because I love the idea that when you hit the water, even if you're unconscious, you know it's always going to inflate and I don't have to worry about it or think about it. That is a dangerous way of thinking, but it seems to be the popular way of thinking when it comes to these. People buy the auto inflates for exactly that reason. They're like, I don't have to think about it, I don't have to be conscious, blah, 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 blah. These do not always inflate. As with anything automatic, there is a failure rate. If these didn't have a failure rate, they wouldn't come with the pull tab and they wouldn't come with the straw. Now, if you don't know what the straw is, I'm going to show you. That's the straw right there. The whole point of the straw is so that if you hit the water and your vest does not inflate on its own, and you pull the tab and the vest does not inflate on its own, you can blow it up. Let that sink in for a second. The automatic vest has the ability to be auto-inflated like a raft for a swimming pool with good old God-given lungs. These do not always inflate. So you need to break if you're going to use these, and I highly recommend it, at least for me, because it's comfortable. I hate PFDs, but it is important to wear them. If I wear the standard type, I'll take it off in 2 minutes. If I wear the jet ski type, well, they're a little better. And the fishing ones aren't bad either, but they get bulky, they feel weird. For me, I just start feeling claustrophobic. This one, I noticed for about 5 minutes. And even with like the GoPro harness on, I don't notice it after a couple of minutes. It's just there. In fact, it's actually kind of convenient. Trash pocket. I keep my emergency alert weather radio in there. I stick my sunglasses in there if I have to take them off my head because I really like my blender sunglasses and I don't want them sinking to the bottom of the lake or river or whatever. So I love these vests. I fully encourage you to use them, but you have to understand that they will not always open on their own. So there's a trade-off there. If you wear the water sport type ones or the standard ones, they don't need to be inflated. So when you hit the water, they're ready to go. So you are trading off something for comfort, and it's important that you know that when you start using this type of vest. It's also important that you inspect them pretty regularly. You never know when the last time it was checked was. So this one, when was this manufactured? This one was manufactured in September of 2018. I bought it brand new. Well, I don't remember, when did I get it? Can't remember if it was this summer or last summer, but it sure was in 2018. You need to inspect it on a regular basis. You need to make sure that everything's in working order. You need to make sure your cylinder, your air cartridge that's in here isn't damaged or anything. You have to give these things the attention and respect that they deserve. You cannot just assume that every time you grab it off the hanger, or have a lot of people do out of the back of the truck or wherever you've been letting it bang around, and assume that it's going to work. It doesn't work that way. These are great so long as you understand that they're also dangerous because they don't always function the way that they're supposed to. And that's not a knock against Sea Choice or any of the other manufacturers. I'm telling you that I love this product and I'm really glad that I spent the money on it. But I'm alarmed by how many people don't realize that they don't always work. When I told the guy at the boat ramp today, a very short version of what I'm rambling on about now, he said, well, what do you mean they don't always work? And I said, well, it's mechanical. I said, it's not always going to trigger, maybe. If it triggers, maybe the cylinder doesn't work. Maybe everything works, but the cylinder and the firing pin don't quite meet each other. That's why it's got the straw. And when I showed him that, he said, well, how am I supposed to inflate it if I'm unconscious? Well, there you go. I mean, obviously the goal is not to be unconscious and have these things, but it's something you need to understand. I don't know what the actual failure rate for these is. I'm going to assume that it's very low, and that, you know, drop a comment if you know the actual answer. I didn't Google it before making the video. I'm gonna guess that it's probably less than 1% or somewhere in that area, because these things work phenomenally. But like anything in life, they aren't perfect. So if you're gonna choose to use an auto inflate PFD, not only know that, but they're not all created equal. This Seat Choice has the auto inflate, the dongle or whatever they call it, and the straw. Most of them that I've seen have the auto and the backup. They don't all have the straw. So if you're gonna buy one and use it, or maybe you already have one, check and make sure it's got the straw. Because worst comes to worst, you wanna be able to inflate it. Treading water sucks. It gets old real quick, especially if you know, team dad bod like I am, man. Treading water gets old, and fat doesn't float as well as they like you to think that it does. So if it did, I wouldn't need a PFD. I got one built in right here. So use it if you've got one. Don't shy away from buying one if that's what you want. Understand its limitations and make sure it's got everything you need. We'll see you next time. Be safe out there.